Hello guys and welcome to round 2 of the ACC League here, hosted by the Simpit. We are at Donington Park today. The track, as you can see here, this was filmed earlier on today. It does look very overcast, and unfortunately for the guys, it is raining. So, the guys are currently in free practice right now. We'll jump over and see how everyone's getting on. So, currently just having a look at Mr. Chris. No, actually, no, we're on top of Mr. Brandon Carl's car. I'll just bring up my other controls just so I can change some bits about. We'll have a look. There we go. Mr. Chris is currently the fastest car on track. There's only one other person who's done lap time, what is an outlap, so expect the times to change. We also have some of the guys running the flags. What again is this is something through Sim Racing GP that they are not showing because we were running it through my private server earlier on, and those flags were showing of where the drivers are from. So that is something Sim Racing GP has not given the output to, but we are looking at changing away from Sim Racing GP in the near future. So, current manufacturers are Chris Ganali in the BMW, Antonio Santos in the Mercedes, Alesh Mum also in the BMW, Callum McLeod in the Mercedes, both Ramshield in a Ferrari, Karen Estep in the Ferrari, Sean Cole in the Porsche. Yes, Mr. Sean Cole has actually turned up to race today, and in 8th is Mr. Brandon Carl. So currently they're out there in practice, so not much going on at the moment, but keep an eye out. Again, guys, I do have the chat open, so if you want to have a join in the chat, I am here to entertain you for today. My name is M.Vowles. I'm your host and also server admin for ACC. I'm also race director, so any issues in today's race, any penalties that need to be added, I will be adding them. As always, our insights are brought to you by ACC TV. They're the guys who bring us these lovely overlays that we can use for today's stream. But we'll have a look through the grid and have a look at everyone. So we're currently actually on board with Mr. Sean Cole. So let's have a look from his outside. As yes, Mr. Sean Cole is in a Porsche. He's only had a couple of laps during free practice that I was hosting on my server earlier on today. So have not had much. Oh, as Mr. Heiko Sherman's just joined. So unfortunately for Sean, that was a lag connection. Unfortunately for Sean, as Heiko's just turned up. So unfortunately for Sean, that has gave him a freeze. It is one of the issues with deliveries. We are trying to work that out best as possible. As we look at Mr. Brandon Carl here in his Honda NSX. So if you ever want to join, guys, make sure to join us at the Simpit Discord channel. From there you'll be able to get our links to Sim Racing GP to be able to sign up for the league. Again, at the moment this is what we're running it on, but we are looking at a new platform to be running our races in the future, so keep an eye out on that. It will be on our social medias if we do change. So we're just coming up to 6 minutes remaining of free practice, then we'll go into qualifying, what will be 20 minutes long, and then we also have our 1 hour race that they have a 10-minute mandatory pit stop. The issues last week was that for some reason our server was changed. We had a pit window for the entire race, but my overlay system was set up for that 10-minute window, hence why it was not showing properly. So there's Mr. Bolf Ramshield in his Ferrari getting chased down by Mr. Sean Cole. Does look like there's some damage on his car already. That's Mr. Chris Grananali is behind. Just needed a quick drink there, guys. I do apologise. So as we look back Mr. Sean Cole. Everyone was doing a little bit of setup works during the week, so here they will need to learn that pit wall is literally where the pit limiter line is, so it's a very awkward pit entry, and also the timing of it could be very, very careful with getting pit speeding races. So as we look over currently at our series leader, Mr. Heiko Sherman, in his BMW M4 GT3. We expect him to be at the front, especially from his normal pace. He should be up there. So let's see what Mr. Heiko Sherman can do. Yes, Terry, I did see in the chat when I first started up. Let's go, boys. Let's have it. Let's see where you can do around a very wet Donington Park. Well, I would say very wet. It's only light rain out there. As we look from the front splitter here of Chris, looking at the back of Ken Estep's car. So that's a very unique view right there, looking from the splitter. So also, guys, all the liveries of the guys are running today are made by myself, hence why we've also got our own custom number boxes on the cars. It's not a normal thing that you would see in ACC, but we want to do something a little bit special. Wanted to run our own number boxes, be just a little bit unique, because that's what we all are around Simpit. We are all unique individuals. As unfortunately there's a little bit of contact. That's what the orange warning signs come up for. Just to let us know that there has been contact between the two drivers. Whilst that's going on, I'm going to have a look if my other timing screen that I'm running is validly showing that there was contact, and it is. So at least I know my other timing screen that I have to run, because I have to run 3 timing screens to do this, as well as have the game open and also Streamlabs open, so I can change scenes, I can keep an eye on the content, and also keep an eye on chat to see and speak to you lovely people out there. So I'm just going to set up my timing screen so everything's just where I need it to be. It does look like we have a few people missing today. I know Mr. Jeff Wells, he is currently still on holiday, so he's not making it tonight. Who else hasn't shown up today? Amir Assad hasn't turned up today, what is very unlike Amir, because Amir is one of the guys who are in points running at the moment. I'm just going to scroll up through the ACC League on our Discord channel, and I'm going to just go over what our current championship points are. So Mr. Heiko Sherman for Whipperman Racing is in first, 125. Then you've got Chris in the other BMW for Aquila Racing. He's got 18 points. Both Ramshield for Bliss Racing, he's on 15. Amir Assad, as I said, he is in 4th with 12 points. Alesh Mum for Simpit Noob Slovenia, he's got 10 points in 5th. Then in 6th we've got Mr. PS4 Deadman, aka Callum McLeod in the Mercedes today for Team Sploosh, he's on 8 points. Mr. Brandon Carl for Carl Motorsports, he's on 6 points in 7th. In 8th place we have Roger in the Cafex Motorsport Nissan GTR with 4 points. Ken Estep for Some Tune Name with 2 points, and then Petrol Library from Mr. Antonio Santos, who does have an injury. He has hurt his arm, so he is going to struggle for today. He's down in 10th in the points with 1 point. And current points, people who have not got points, is Sean Cole for Simpit Racing Team, Jeff Wills for Sim Racing Nation, and John Crane, Test Don't Guess Racing. So that's our current point standings. We will head back to the track from my view. So we're just coming up to last 25 seconds of free practice, and then we'll be jumping over into qualifying. Yes, Terry. Alesh, when he signed up, literally put Simpit Noob Slovenia as his name. I thought it was absolutely gold that he did that. So all the team names are chosen by the drivers themselves, then race numbers were chosen by them. The only one who's forced to change his number was obviously Mr. Heiko Sherman, as he is the current champion from the last season. Amir picked up that grandmother BMW car wash this weekend that hasn't been seen since. Yeah, he has been a little bit quiet, so we'll have to see where he is. Just coming up to the end now of free practice. Aleshmom is the only one who is on track, followed by Bolf Ramshield. Bolf's already finished his lap, so Alesh is the only one that's on a lap now. I will jump over back to the track intro just before he comes across the line, so we don't get a sudden jolt in game. As Deadman has jumped in, I only came here for the sploosh. Well, Callum, you got the sploosh out there. It's very moist. And again, guys, this is only light rain for ACC. We did a practice race the other night, practice session the other night, just for a laugh, and we put it on the worst conditions possible, and not one person could keep it on track, not even myself. So we'll head back over to the track intro, just as they switch over. So as you can see from the overlay here, we are running the full international layout here at Donington Park. As I said, these are pictures taken from earlier on today. The track was dry then. Unfortunately now it is wet, so the guys are rolling out of pit lane. So we'll jump over to them. Oh, as my game has done its normal and not recognised that I'm running as this moment. So I'll jump back over. There we go, it's walking. Yes, the time, as soon as the race timer ends, if they're on a valid lap, you can cross the start line with 1 second to go. As long as your lap stays clear, it will work. I do apologise why it's lagging. I do know why. I need to come off that screen. There we go. Yeah, so as long as you are on a valid lap, it will not change over to qualifying, or the same from qualifying into the race. As soon as your lap dirties and you're the only, let's say you're the last car on the grid who hasn't crossed the finish line yet, it will instantly switch over to the race, or in this case over into qualifying. I am noticing one thing though with the overlays, so I'm just going to have a little play with that, see what's going on. There we are. It's just unfortunately clipping, so I've just fixed that for us. So we are looking at Alesh Mum at the moment in his BMW. I do believe he is third on track, so we're going to switch over to Mr. Ken Estep, who is currently in the pit lane. That's why the time is shown as it is. So Chris is the one who is out in first, with Mr. Antonio Santos behind him, who our camera system automatically has just picked up. What's lovely. I am running a full automated system, so it will switch between the camera views on its own. If I want to switch and lock onto a certain driver and a view, we can do that. Let's talk about Mr. PS4 Deadman, Mr. Callum McLeod. We are looking currently at him then, full in the Mercedes, just for a split second, and we look back from Alesh Mum. You see, there is quite a bit of spray going on, so guys, when it comes to the race, you can be behind people, it's going to struggle. Alesh needs the screenshot whilst he's in P1. Yes, he does. But saying that, Alesh's times during the practice, he is not doing too bad. He could be actually a dark horse in this race, to be honest. So we will have to see. I think it could be, from what I've seen about lap times so far over the couple of days I've been hosting a free practice, as well as practice today, it could be a BMW 1-2-3 here on the starter grid, but Callum McLeod has also been whacking in some great lap times. So I will bring up everyone's personal best lap time, so you can keep an eye on that. So we'll change from their car numbers over to They are personal best lap times. As there you go, Mr. Chris Ganali's gone fastest with a 1:33.810. Tech-related question: how is the performance hit when the rain comes? It's not too bad actually. You'd be very surprised. They've optimised the rain to not really throw much difficulties in visually off. So you might lose maybe a maximum of like 5 frames per second, if that. So again, it all matters on what your settings are overall. But generally, they are very normally spot on. So the extra data I brought up now, ladies and gentlemen, is those green boxes that's showing they're on a faster lap. The red, obviously, they're on a slower lap. And if they're greyed out or blacked out, they are not on the lap at all. They are in the pit. So Mr. Wolf-Ramschild, he is currently equal on lap time pace there. So Chris does look like he's going faster. He is half a second up at the moment. As we look back from Mr. Wolf-Ramschild straight at Mr. Heiko Schimmer, it does look like he's getting very loose coming off turn exits when he's just touching those rumble strips. No worries, Terry. Any questions, mate? Always ask. That's what we're here to do. As you see the plane there flying into West Midlands Airport. Why is Heiko so slow today? I know he's had only a little bit of practice in our server. He did 2 hours last night. But he doesn't seem to get on very well with the wet. Especially this track. I know he's like hardly put any laps here. Yeah, machines don't do well in the moisture. Must be a bit of rust getting on between those joints, that's why he's slowing up. As you see that, you actually see Mr. Sean Cole right behind Heiko here. So our current 3 fastest car is Chris Ganali in the BMW, Alesh Mum in P2, Brandon Carl in 3rd. So at the moment, Heiko hasn't put a clean lap in. So that lap, what he was just on then, that was his out lap, so it's not too bad. He's got a little bit too wide there again. Yes, he's dirtied his lap. This lap will not, actually no. It might be a clean lap, I'm not 100% sure. My timing screen is getting, wow, hello Sean Cole. Very loose there coming through. Yeah, Mr. Chris G is doing very good here at ACC. So it looks like Sean Cole's just got off behind. Yeah, he's dropped quite a way back now from Heiko here. Let's have a look on board from Heiko's car to get through the chicane. You can cut quite a lot there, but in this wet, it's very bumpy on that right hand side and it can really throw you. So I'm not surprised he wants to stay off it as much as possible. Yes, Terry, Heiko's lap time is being very un-Heiko-ish. As Heiko is done a lap, he is in P3, so unless it's actually faster, not by much. That is some very close times, as you can see. But they are quite a way behind Chris here in 1st. So currently at the moment it is a BMW 123, followed by a Honda, Mercedes, Ferrari, and unfortunately Sean Cole in the Porsche at the back. But the Porsche, with its rear engine, normally it's one of the fastest cars through the corners because of the grip on the back end, but with the moisture it might be its Achilles heel here. Yeah, yeah, at least we make sure he didn't have a boom remote. Sean was actually in the voice chat with us an hour early before today's race. He was actually in chat with us asking questions like, what can I do to help this? What can I do to help this? Why is my traction control so high from the in-game base wet setup? We said that the base wet setup is set up for like the worst conditions you can possibly think of. So it's got the maximum amount of traction control, maximum amount of ABS. But unfortunately, what they don't do is bring the brake balance far enough back for a start. Plus, also, that much ABS and that much traction control, you're unable to drive the car. It doesn't turn at all. Heiko is on slicks. Unfortunately, they're not. Everyone's on wet tyres. So, with Heiko's lap times as they are, this is very interesting. So we've just gone up to the halfway mark now of qualifying. That time between P2 and P3 is extremely close. Saying that, look at Brandon Carl and Callum McLeod's lap time and Sean Cole's lap time. This is going to be a very interesting race here today. This is going to be very, very interesting with these lap times. I think the rain has equalled out everyone. I think the only one who's got a good running at the moment is Chris. So I have to give that, he's gone even faster. For 1 minute 33.505. Yeah, exactly, Terry. That's the good bit about how the ACC works. The balance of the traction controls and ABS in each individual car are so unique. Because you can run the high TC in a Mercedes and it works lovely, but you run that high TC in the BMW and it could really feel horrible in the car. So it's all about that balance. And also, it's like the Porsche and I believe the Honda, I'm not 100% sure, but I know also the Aston Martin, they have TC1 and TC2. Yeah, 3/10 of a second from P2 to P3, and they're spread across the track. So this is going to be amazing. As both Ramshield just goes up into second place in the Ferrari. Now, Terry. He's got to lean off to let it, everyone catch up. That's what we normally have to say to Heiko. But Heiko, in this weather, he's struggling. And I think this weather has definitely caught people out a little bit. Yeah, as always, goddamn cheater BMWs, especially those M4s. But saying that, it is BMW, Ferrari, BMW at the moment, so... But again, during the race, everything can change. Absolutely everything can change in a race. So it is going to be interesting. So I'm going to take a quick break here, just get a drink going, and I'll be back shortly. I'll leave the stream up running for you guys so you can see what's going on, but keep an eye. And I'm back, guys. It does look like, Antonio Santos and Ken Estep here having a little battle during qualifying. These are for P8 and P9, unfortunately, but if this shows anything, this is going to be a race at the back of the grid. It's going to be a race through, I think, absolutely everyone today. Kennan's gone a little bit. Well, see, he cut a little bit too much there. At British GT tracks, so you have Donington Park, you have Snetterton, and Alton Park. It's not the rumble strip that is the edge of the track. It's not classed as where the track limits are. It's the white line at British GT tracks. So he could be running right on the edge on the rumble strip, but unfortunately that can class him as not on the racing line here. So I do believe Mr. Canesta doesn't have his own line. So unfortunately, guys, what I'll do is I'll switch over to be back soon. I'm just going to go into this. Actually, I'll let him do through free qualifying. I do not want to interrupt. I'm going to jump into the chat with the guys just during a bit afterwards, just before we get going, just to give the guys a heads up saying, can we have all headlights on, please, if possible, and also make sure your rain lights are on, because you are going to need as much extra visibility as possible. And I did notice there that Ken has not got any headlights on or his rain light on at all, so just want to keep that. As Heiko, who's actually now jumped up into P2, Sean Cole into P4. I think Sean Cole's found his fingers now. So Heiko in P2 with a 1 minute 34.3. And Lesh with a 134.5. Sean with a 134.6. Wolf with a run with a 48.8. So very close times. This is going to be a very interesting race here today. So we're going to have a look from the helicopter over onto Lesh coming around the Melbourne hairpin. Now looking back from his rear splitter. So if this is the view that we're going to see from the rear, you can imagine how much spray there's going to be coming up from some of these guys. It's going to be quite blurry for them in that rain. So Lesh was on a lap there, not fastest. That was 134.660. So just got to see what their lap times are going to be. If he's going to go any faster this one, he is down on his time at the moment. We can see a lot of the guys are in the pits at the moment. There's only 4 cars out on track. As Lesh has jumped back into the pits, and who has gone out now? Mr. Antonio Santos is rolling out the pit lane. We are going to have a look at Mr. Callum McLeod, see how he's doing in Mercedes. Have a look from his front splitter. Oh, getting a little bit loose there. But very, very nice line. That is pretty much the bang on the line that you want to go through that chicane. Oh, he's gone way too deep though at the Melbourne hairpin. He unfortunately dirtied his lap there. Does look like his lap time is an out lap anyway. So that is good. So you should go wide here. Get on the throttle late, come on. There we go, all the power now. He wants to aim over that pit lane exit. Doesn't take all the exit. Use the runoff space there. You can dive across a little bit of the green paint, then go into the pit lane exit, just to open that corner up a little bit more. So he comes down the crane of curves here. Oh, especially in the wet, you will spin all day long. So Callum is up on his lap time. I do want to stick with Callum on this lap, so I'm going to click it back to cameras. Make sure it sticks with him. So I'm just going to turn my autopilot off just while we sit on board with Callum. As we are now in the last 2 minutes of qualifying. So Callum will get another lap in after this one. He is currently up, but it's only such a short amount. Oh, he's cut a little bit too much there, maybe. Yes, he has. His lap has dirtied. Hence why his number has gone into the black. So, Alesh Mum, he's on a fast lap. Currently equaling his time. So, it does look like... So here we go, that hike is just peaking it and slowing up again. Wolf is on a fast lap this time. Callum McLeod's on just started another flying lap. As we have literally 1 minute left now of qualifying. Sorry, I nearly said free practice. I've been saying so much about free practice over the weekend to some of the guys. That is embedded in my head at the moment. So Alesh is up on his time. Heiko is down on his time. Heiko's come into the pits. Heiko's in. So Alesh could jump. Heiko hit. Oh, yeah, his lap time is still clean. I thought he cut a little bit too much there. He is 0.4 up, so he could beat Heiko here for P2 on the grid. Can Alesh keep this lap together? It's going to be very, very tight. I do apologise. Come on, Alesh. See your lap time? Yes, Alesh goes up into P2. So, Alesh up into P2. Antonio Santos, I believe he's the only... Actually, we've got both Ramshield on the lap. But Mr. Santos is actually on a lap. He actually crossed the line just before the timer ran out. And he's up on his time. So, our current top four are Chris G in the BMW in first place with a 133.5. Alesh Mum with a 134.1. Heiko Sherman in the BMW as well. So, top three are BMWs with a 133.3. As Mr. Bob Ramshaw comes across the line, there's barely any improvement there. So he's finished line now. Let's have a look at Mr. Antonio Santos. Let's see if he can improve. He is... I don't think he is, unfortunately. He is 3.5 seconds down on his lap. So yes, it's a clean lap, but it is a dirty lap, so... This will be the starting order that you're seeing on your screens right now. So... Qualifying has now finished. The cars are on the grid. I will jump over into the chat there, guys. I'm just going to bring up the manufacturers there so you can see just how they are. I'm just going to put also race gaps on for you so you'll be able to see the time between them. We've got a couple of minutes now just before the race starts. I'm going to jump in, give the guys a heads up. Also, I'm just going to put it into the in-game chat for them so they can see it through here. Actually, I can't change that because we're in the pit lane. So, I'm just going to jump into the chat and let the guys know. Hello guys, well done through qualifying. Times are very, very tight, what's nice to see. Also, can I ask if all drivers can run the headlights and also your rain light, because it is going to be hard to see out there, especially when you through all the spray, so as much visibility will be greatly appreciated.
Do you know what button is lights for on a map?
There is.
I have to map it real quick.
You might have to map it, but if not, you can go through your black box MFD, and there is an electronic screen there where you'll be able to turn your lights on.
Once you get in the car, Sean, go to the MFD. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah. So good luck, guys. Have fun, and don't forget there is a 10-minute pit window at the halfway mark. You must change tyres. Good luck and have fun.
It's the short.
How many minutes?
So we're gonna let them have a bit of fun there, because you can hear them. They're all getting a bit fuzzled, getting themselves all hyped up, ready to go. As Mr. Sean Cole's headlights are fully on, he's ready to go. So I'm just going to bring up my screens just so we can have a look at the overlays here. We're going to click on board with first place. Have a look from the helicopter cam. So I'm using the short formation lap here. Not a full formation lap. We're just going to get the cars get going for us. So off we go. As Heiko is a bit slow off the line, everyone has made sure they hit drive. That's one thing you definitely want to do, is make sure that drive is selected. Don't leave Sean in the dark. No, Sean is there. Brandon Carl's on a bit too far forward. So the guys will be making sure they stay in the green box as they come forward. Brandon Carl is out of position, so Sean's going to have to move it forward. There we go. I will double check race start procedure. It does look clean. As we are underway, I'm going to jump into the game. I do need to look at one of the other screens just to see if there's any penalties been applied. Very, very quickly, so I do apologise. Heiko's been given a penalty for out of position. And we are seeing chaos already ensuing. So Mr. Heiko Sherman is now actually at the back. Yeah, unfortunately this was an awkward one because of where the start procedure is. We're going to actually have a look back at the replays here, just to see what happened at the very, very start. So Mr. Wolframschild and Alesh got in together, then Callum came in. So there was a bit of hiffy-tuffy back there. So contact through the first is not so bad, but unfortunately it has put Alesh and Heiko at the back. I will go in to say about the penalty being cleared. So again, it will freeze. I do apologise where you're getting lag spikes. Oh, the password is incorrect on me, so give me 1 minute. I need to bring this up very, 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 very quickly. I will jump into the chat. Give me 1 second. Heiko, please stay out on track. Your penalty is being cleared. You was in position. Please stay out on track.
Don't listen to him. Take that draft.
So just have to go into the login site. Hopefully they are staying out on track. I will go back onto the autopilot and I'll get that going for us. We can watch everything as it should be. Okay, so we are back. Sorry, it's going to lag 1 second, guys. It's not done what I wanted it to do. Okay, so it's not doing that way, so there we go. I can now get us back over into normal view. I do apologise for that, guys. It is the only issues about myself doing this as a solo driver, as a solo broadcast. So I do apologise. So unfortunately Heiko is at the back. He's going to have to do a drive. That was a hell of a way through here. I did clear his drive-through penalty there, as he was in position. It just wasn't registering it properly. Most likely he was like not even half a car length too far forward. Or it could have been that he was just slightly speeding. And due to that fact is why I have cleared it. He did not gain any time. He's actually even lost time, so that penalty does nothing. Thanks, Tony, but I feel like I always can do better. I feel like I can even do this broadcast with all the overlays and so on and so forth even better. Terry, if no lie, if I lived in the States, I would happily broadcast every single race for us. It's something I enjoy doing. I just wish I could do a bit more with it all. With ACC myself, I know ACC inside and out. It's the sim I work with obviously Mercedes. So it's one of my main things. So at the moment, going back to the race after the first lap is Chris Ganali. I can never say his name for probably. I do know I'm butchering it. I do apologise. So Chris is out in first place in the BMW, followed by Sean Cole, Balf Ramshield in third, Colin McLeod in fourth, Alex Mum fifth, Brandon Carl fifth, Antonio Santos in seventh, Ken Estep in sixth, and Heiko Sherman, unfortunately, at the back. So Chris has just put a new fastest lap out there. This is going to get interesting, guys. This really is. I'm going to leave those broadcast bits up for you. So, as you can see, you can see the gaps between each one person here. The closer they are, the brighter that colour will be. Jan Raleigh. I'll still mess it up, Terry. That's the only problem, my friend. Even if I literally had it on a button and it automatically say it for me, it would still come out wrong, guaranteed, at least once or twice. So we look back from Ken Estep, we see Mr. Heiko Sherman behind him here. Heiko's going to dive up the inside here, guarantee, yes. There goes Heiko past. So we are missing only, again, 3 drivers. I know Jeff is away, he's still on vacation. Mr. John Crane said he will be able to make not all the races, but he's going to try to make as many as he can possible. And Amir. Where's Amir? It's funny, we have Amir last week here, and this week we have Mr. Sean Cole here. One day we'll have all of the Simpit staff actually on board in the race at the same time. When that happens, God knows when that will ever be. So currently fastest on track is Mr. Balf Ramshield. He's 3 times faster than Chris. A nice view of Ken here. Oh, he's gone a little bit wide. I think these wet conditions are really not suiting Ken here. We're going to have him jump up to Mr. Callum McLeod. Simpit admins is like Highlander. Yeah, and talk about the Highlander. We're looking over at Callum McLeod right now. Can you give the Honda a drive-through for running a drift stance and wearing a flat brim hat? Oh, we could definitely give him a slap, I think that. But Brandon is he's not doing too bad. So we'll let him out there. As we're looking back from Antonio Santos. Looking back at Mr. Heiko Sherman. Heiko does have his headlights on. He does have his full endurance headlights on. But he does have his headlights on, what's good. There can only be 1 per race. That's the thing. If these guys get into a pile-up, we can give them as many penalties as we like. So they've got to be good boys for the entire race. So this is the battle that's the closest on track right now. This is why our autopilot is focusing on it a lot. Antonios moves to the outside. So this is the view from Antonios' head. Oh, he's gone a little bit too deep. Maybe. Is Heiko going to get up the inside? No, Antonios does stay just in front. Oh, I think Heiko didn't expect him to brake so early there. So I'm just keeping an eye on the rest of the field and see how they're doing. Balf is still the fastest out on track. As this is good to see Mr. Heiko Sherman at the back, having to fight his way through everyone here. But this is not going to do his championship points any good. Because only the top 10 that will be getting points through the season. So at the 35-minute remaining mark, we will have the pit lane open. And then at the 25 minutes remaining, the pit lane will close. So at the moment on track, there you go, as Chris is waxing the new personal best of 1:34.007. Yeah, exactly, Terry. Everyone loves to see the champion struggle for a race. As he's not able to get past Antonio here in the Mercedes. Antonio's doing an amazing job here. Considering he's got an injured arm, he's doing extremely good to hold Heiko back. So the current temperatures out on track are the air temp, even though it's wet, there's got light rain out there, is 22 degrees in the air temp and 28 track. So that track is right on the edge of being wet and going into damp conditions. The more and more these guys go around, they're going to end up start wearing a very, very slight dry lining. So it's going to be hard for them, as both Ramshield is catching up to Mr. Sean Cole. He's only a couple of seconds now behind. As we flip over to Mr. Sean Cole now, actually. As we see Mr. Both Ramshield in his Ferrari closing up. So there's now a BMW, Porsche, Ferrari, Mercedes top 4. Yeah, this track is a very hard track to follow. As we're looking directly now from Sean Cole's helmet cam. Yep, Sean using all the track just where you should be. As we look now back from the Porsche. I can maybe a little unsure on potential send into the wet conditions. It may be. Heiko's arms are too sore from putting up drywall. That's his own fault for doing it on race day. That's what I say to that. It's his own fault. So the gaps at the moment, Chris has a 5.2 second lead over Mr. Sean Cole. But for Ramshield, as you can see, is just under 2 seconds. Callum McLeod is a further 7 seconds back. 8, no, 10. What is going on with Callum McLeod's lap time? I think it might have been in the braking zone, as these guys were accelerating. As we're looking back, as Heiko is still behind Antonio here. This is something I was not expecting. Oh, as Antonio gets loose there, that should let Heiko get by. This is where the drag race comes into it. Yeah, Heiko has got past now. That Mercedes grunt though. Trust me, I'm a Mercedes driver in this game. That thing pulls. The Mercedes really does like it around this track. So we're looking from the top of the hood cam here. Just for a split second. Well, we're going to switch back up to the front as both Ramshield is right behind Mr. Sean Cole as they come down into the old hairpin. Sean runs a little bit wide there. That could have been dangerous. That could have resulted in a spin there for Mr. Sean Cole. Also guys, let me know, is the broadcast overlays too big? Do you want me to make them a little bit smaller, or are they just the right size that the information is readable but not covering up the screen too much? Please let me know. So Mr. Ramshield is the closest car on track for a battle. He is just falling away in certain sectors here, away from Mr. Sean Cole. So I wonder what that's going to mean in the near future, as we are now just coming up to 10 minutes until the pit window opens. As both sends those pillars absolutely flying there as he cuts through. They're fine for you, that's brilliant. Oh, Sean Cole's gone off. Mr. Sean Cole, what happened there? Let's go back from the headicam and let's have a look what happened there from Mr. Sean Cole. There was no contact. Oh, just too much. Just want to make sure this is all live. I believe it is, but I don't believe. So that was earlier on in the race. I looked back on my thing there. I was meant to play back for the last 30 seconds, but unfortunately that didn't work there. So Mr. Sean Cole unfortunately has fallen right back there. That was earlier on in the race that we just had a quick look at. As Chris Ganardi's gone even faster now, 1:33.995. Chris is definitely on the pace for the high midfields in some of the big league races. He's on my pace at the moment. And this is where I'm surprised. Where is Heiko? His lap times are nowhere near where we expect Heiko to be. As Chris Granali does look like he is pulling away from everyone here. As we look from Alesh Mum, he's chasing down Mr. Callum McLeod, who's up into 4th. We will have a look at the replays from the start. We will go into that afterwards, before the end of the race. Well, look, before the end of the race, we'll have a look at those actually after the race is finished. We'll have a quick look and just double check, just to see if there needs to be any after race penalties applied. I don't believe there needs to be, but we will double check. It does look like it's just a turn 1 incident and the wet playing a bit of havoc. As you can see, the gaps have now eased out quite a little bit between everyone. Everyone's getting a bit more settled. As Chris has got even faster, not by much, but every single 100th, 1000th millisecond, absolutely everything counts in sim racing. It's like it does in the real world. Like we've seen it through the iRacing top 10 highlights of last month that got posted up just the other day. 2 cars finished at 0.000 of a second apart from each other. Literally dead heat across the line. And literally that tiniest bit could have been winning or losing. So it's always worth trying to push as much as you can. As we're looking back from Callum McLeod now, you can see Alesh Mum just sneaking up onto Callum. Oh, this race is definitely going to shake up the championship standings, especially how they are at the moment, because don't forget, Sean's got no points at the moment. Both Ramshield and Chris Ganali, they're already at the front of the grid. The only person is Heiko. Heiko's way down on points right now. Alesh Mum in 5th, Callum McLeod up in 4th. These points are going to be very, very tight after round 2. As Alesh really is closing on Callum McLeod here. So we're looking actually from pretty much my view, from my center screen there. That's where the camera looked a little bit weird, looked a little bit further back. As Chris has gone even faster, a 1:33.4. That's my lap time pace around here in wet conditions. Roughly about 5 to 6 seconds off of our dry weather pace around here. Normal dry weather pace is around the 1:25s if you're very quick, 1:27.8s, around 1:28.7s, 1:28s is a good fast average pace around here. So Chris is on real good times here, especially for these conditions, especially for a lot of guys. As Terry would know, you're from mainly on iRacing, buddy. iRacing has no wet weather. Not a lot of sims get wet weather correctly. ACC definitely has got it down just right where it needs to be. As Heiko Sherman's passed Bristol Brandon Carl, that came up very quickly. That quickly that we didn't even get a warning that they were those close. So that's Heiko up to 6th. He's got to gain 14 seconds though to catch up to Alesh. That's a long way back. But if anyone could do it, it's going to be Heiko. Heiko needs an update. Or reboot, yeah. Yes, the rain was announced. We officially announced it directly on the Simpit Friday news. It was also put in the chat that the server it was going to be a wet race, and also through Sim Racing GP, if they always click onto into the series, click onto the event itself, they can always look straight down and they can see the config for this for the rain, so they can see how much percentage of rain there's going to be, how dry it's going to be. They can see all that information. So as Mr. Sean Cole is catching back up to both here, can we see? Oh, Sean. As I literally just said, he's catching up. Sean runs wide and has lost a load more time to both. He was within a second and is now 2.8 seconds behind. Yeah, Heiko stopped responding, definitely. So we are just a couple of minutes away now from this pit window opening. Let's see what people are going to do. Are they going to come in early, get this pit stop done with? Or are they going to run as deep as possible on it to try to minimise being in traffic? Did the guys take enough fuel to make the whole race? Or are they even splitting their fuel consumption? It's tradition for when we say Sean is doing well, he's about to go off track, hit something or spin out. That is true. That is very true about Sean. But considering he's come in with very minimal practice on ACC, he's not an ACC guy, like overall. He's not doing too bad, as literally, as you said, going off track as soon as we start talking about him, he runs wide again in the old hairpin. As both Ramshield's gone off track, both has unfortunately lost it there. So both, he's going to might even hemorrhage here to Callum McLeod. He has Callum McLeod up into 3rd place. No, Sean Cole lost it just here coming onto the back straight. That happened 2 corners previous. So this is really getting interesting now, guys. So guys, for who are just joining us, this is the Simpit ACC League, hosted by Sim Racing GP and myself. We will be racing every Tuesday, so keep an eye on that. If you want to join, jump in our Discord channel, jump on Sim Racing GP, sign up, get yourself out on track with us. We're always welcome to new people and new races, as we're now 55 seconds away from this pit window opening. And this race has turned all over on its head, all over the shot, and it is the place to be at the moment. Is definitely to be either on track or watching this here on the live stream. So we are just counting down into the start of the pit window. They have to take tyres during this pit stop. They don't have to take fuel unless they split their fuel load over the whole race. So Sean Cole is showing a yellow flag. That looked like Sean made a mistake there as well. Can this be Callum McLeod can catch up to Sean Cole and capture P2? So it says both who's got a white flag showing there, so he's a slow car on track. Even though we can just literally physically see him there, he's not going slow. So the pit window is now open. We will have a look. Chris Grananali, he's staying out on track. Mr. Sean Cole, he's coming around now into the final corner. Let's see if he jumps in. That's one thing I didn't show, guys. I did not click the mandatory pit stops, so I've just opened that up for you now. So, Mr. Callum McLeod, he's diving in early. If his pit stop is valid, that orange bar will go to a green bar. So, keep an eye on that. Let's see. Hope Callum does a clean pit stop. Excuse me. And also gets this pit stop to work, because we have had issues with Callum's car not turning off when he wants it to stop. So the engine is off on the car. The pit crews are working. Unfortunately, we can't see it as he's... Oh, I don't think he's turned his engine off properly, or he's in his pit box. Callum should be out of the pit by now. We will keep an eye on him. I don't think he's in his pit box correctly, guys. Yeah, so Antonio Santos is in the pit. Callum McLeod pit is now, he's now out on pit. Callum has finished his pit stop. It is clean. Yes, that's the thing. Will Shaw remember to take his pit stop? We have given him the information. So Antonio Santos is in the pit from P8. Ken Estep is in the pit from P9. Both Ramshield here has Alesh Mum right behind him. So who's if any of these going to dive into the pits? Yes. Alesh Mum is in the pit lane. So I need to quickly just double check to see if any speeding penalty has been put in. I do apologise for the skipping, guys. No, everyone's pit stop is good so far. Antonio took his pit stop. Kennison did his pit stop. Alesh Rump is currently on pit road as well. I wish I had one of my other things that would tell me if people had dirtied their pit stop or not. Unfortunately, we don't have that overlay unless we're running the bog standard in-game overlays. So people are moving now who are on pit lane. So Alesh Mum is now out on track as well. So the guys who have took their pit stop early. So Callum McLeod did get back past Alesh. So Callum McLeod, maybe his pit stop was in time. We will have to go back into the game one last time, guys, so I do apologise. I just want to make sure that we are running everything right. Yes, no one has been speeding in the pit lanes. They're all being good boys. Unfortunately, we do have to hold their hands sometimes. As Mr. Wolverhampton from P3 is now in the pit lane. Can he retain his position? I think Mr. Chris Granali here has nearly got a whole pit stop gap to Mr. Sean Cole. It's about 9 seconds short as Brendan Cole is in the pit lane as well. So, currently, just looking at the positions gained, Aleshmum is down 5 places. Sean Cole is up 2 places. Heiko is back into 3rd at the moment, but don't forget, not taking his pit stop so far. Both Ramshaw is up 1 place. Brandon Cole has just been overtaken by the guys as they come through the pit lane and exit. That's Mr. Chris Ganali. He's now in pit lane. Sean can make this 1 more lap. So the guys finish this pit stop run. People are going to be all over the place. Let's look at Mr. Alesh Mum here, right up behind Mr. Wolverhampton there in that Ferrari. So Mr. Brandon Carl's pit stop has been validated. I'm just going to go again, just double checking that pit stops are being validated times. And we do not have speeders. No, everyone's being good. Sean Cole is in pit lane. Sean Cole is in pit lane. As Heiko now leads the race for the first time. Unfortunately, he has not taken his pit stop just yet, so it's going to be a bit of a nightmare for him. But he is going to technically lead 1 lap, maybe, depending on where he comes down pit lane. I think it was showing that Sean was in the pit lane, but I don't think he is. I think Sean Cole's not taken his pit stop yet. Or has Sean taken his pit stop and it not register on my end? I will have to go into the game and have a double check. See if it's cleared on this end. Sean Cole has got a stop go 30. I repeat, Sean Cole, stop, go, 30. Only thing they'll give him a stop go 30 is Sean Cole has sped in pit lane. I will go and tell him that I'm dropping it down to a drive-through penalty. So I'll give that heads up a minute. So give me 1 second, guys. We will let him take his pit stop, because otherwise he was not going to be able to take his pit stop beforehand. He's still got a little bit of time. So I'm just going to jump in the chat, guys. I do apologise for lagging 1 second. Sean, your penalty has been cleared from a stop go 30. It's getting reduced down to a drive through. Your pit stop is still not valid, unfortunately, though, buddy. So you can get going. You'll have to pit this lap.
Copy that. Alright.
So I'm back, guys. I'm going to let Sean Cole get in the pit lane before activating that drive through penalty. Because if I activate it now, unfortunately for him, he is not going to be able to take his pit stop, so I'm just going to clear off that penalty screen. We are going to come back. So we will keep an eye on Mr. Sean Cole. He has to pit this lap, otherwise he's going to be outside of the window. And he is not going to be able to do it in time. He has to be on pit road before the timer ends. I'm going to turn the autopilot off. It's trying to watch over other people. We need to keep an eye on Mr. Sean Cole. No, the drive-through, he would have to serve the drive-through before serving the pit stop. So, I'm making sure he gets his pit stop in. Right, so he is down to speed this time. So, his tyres didn't swap, so he didn't have to take it. If he didn't take his mandatory stop, he'd have had a 180-second penalty added to his time. What would have been a pit stop and basically 2 pit stops worth of time in that pit. So this is going to drop Sean Cole down, depending on how far back he's going to be. Sean is now on the move. And it did not count again, but we do know he held long enough. I do believe it might have been because the window was shut. I will have to go into game, double check that. It will be something I'll have to manually clear after the race is finished. So give me 1 second. Okay, so it did not clear. So he has been in the pits now twice. The drive-through will have to happen for Mr. Sean Cole here. So I will go back into the chat and let him know why. Okay, Mr. Sean Cole, your penalty, you will have your drive-through penalty come up in 1 minute. It did not clear It did not clear your pit time, so at the end of the race I'll clear the penalty that will come up for the time. You have pitted and you were stationary long enough. I do not know why it's not. So, but this is I've reduced your penalty from the stop go 30 you had down to a drive-through.
Copy that. So I can just run to the end now?
Yeah, you will have to take a drive-through penalty, so it'll be just on the pit limiter all the way through the pit lane, okay?
Okay.
So there we go, guys. As you just heard, I did repeat it to Sean that he will have to take his drive through. It is a bit unfortunate for Sean, but we have dropped that penalty down from a stop go 30 just to a drive through for him. I didn't change the screen. Give me 1 sec, guys. There we go. Just made it so it's unlaggy for you, and that's cleared. So as you can see, the orange mark has not removed from his name. So at the very end of the race, when he crosses the line, I will have to instantly go into it, clear that so he doesn't get any more of a time penalty. He is now down into 7th, unfortunately, for Callum, for Mr. Sean Cole. That was looking for a podium. He didn't speed again that time. That was a valid time. He definitely was stationary for 30 seconds. It could be that it's not, for some reason, it wasn't accepting his tyre change. Or it could have been, what I'm thinking more of the fact of is, he was still on pit road when the pit window closed, or he just got in just a little bit too late, or he did exit late. I can't remember, I'm not sure exactly if you have to be exiting pit road before the end of that pit stop time. So hence why we are going to clear the after race time penalty that he will get for not taking his pit stop, even though we have seen him take his pit stop now. But that's why we did remove that stop go 30, because the stop go 30 was for speeding in the pit lane, and we did drop it down to a drive through. But unfortunately, let's drop Sean now right back down. So, but we're gonna have a look at the battle here. This is for P4. This is both Ramshield and Mr. Heiko Sherman. This is why one of the things I would love to have 2 people to be able to do this. I want to be able to do the broadcast, one to do the instant reporting and put the words out for the guys. You can just about see that rear view camera there from this angle. It is one of the annoying cameras where it does flick to something like that. We want to have a look at the action, so we don't want to have a look forward. We want to look backwards. So this puts Callum McLeod in his Mercedes up into P2. He's coming up to, unfortunately, like Mr. Kenner's step. Terry, that's the thing is when it's new, when you're new to it. So, as you've seen there, Ken was getting a blue flag. I have told the guys it's in the rule book. You do not have to move out the way. It's for the faster car to go around you. And do not defend. That's the only rules. So yeah, Terry, as I was saying, for the pit stops, it is purely down to knowledge. Again, Sean's not put much time in. The more and more you put into time, and it's like you'll learn like where exactly do I need to stop in the pit line. The pit entry speeds, like where can I literally slam on the brakes as hard as I can, get down to first, get the pit limit on. Right on the exit, get it off as quick as possible, save as much time as possible. It's all stuff that can be learned. Again, for Sean Cole, this is the first race that I've known him do on ACC that's had a mandatory pit stop where you've had to do stuff, like you had to change tyres. As Ken there goes unfortunately into the gravel at the chicane. Luckily has let Alesh run through, but has held up Alesh actually more than it did hold Callum up. So this does look like it's still going to be interesting here to the end. As Mr. Heiko Sherman is on the back of both Ramshield, it looks like. So we'll go have a look over at that battle. Yeah, exactly. Ken is learning so much about the blue flag rules. Is that? But that's the thing about GT flags compared to, like, if you learn at F1 flags, you get a blue flag, you got to jump out the hell out of the way, get on the brakes, let them go, do everything like that. GT rules are completely different. GT rules are, you stick on your line. It's just a heads up, there's a faster car approaching you. Don't defend. That's all it is. If you're literally holding the same pace as them, but you're just literally like 1 or 2 tenths a lap slower, doesn't matter. You can sit there all day long. It's as soon as they dive on you, you gotta let them go. That's literally the only rules for GT. Yes, that was definitely a unique line there for Ken going through the chicane. As we're coming up to 18 minutes now remaining of the race. Oh, as Ken has just gone off track there as well. Safely rejoined. These are some troubling conditions for all the guys. Yeah, exactly, Terry. That's what it should be, though. They should be able to do their own race, do their own line, and if that, preferably staying on the racing line itself, and just go in, let them know they're there. That's what you'll see with me. Even in bright daytime conditions, I've got my full headlights on, including the endurance headlights on the front on the Mercedes. And anytime I'm coming up to lap someone, if I'm on a distance I know their rearview mirror should be able to see me, I'm already flashing, going, I'm here. Just stick to you. I will go around you. You'll see it with the multi-class guys, especially in some of the higher leagues. You'll see the drivers indicating, saying, I'm sticking to the left, I've got my left indicator, okay, on. You go to my right, it's fine. Yeah, exactly. Having these conditions is definitely going to add a new variable to some people not able to cope with it. But the thing is, last season we did Nürburgring, and it was in the night time, well, just going into the night, and it was raining, pretty much the same conditions as we have now. And Ken actually was doing very good there. So it could be that it's just the spray from some of the vehicles when they get in front of him will just put them off a little bit. But again, as you know, Terry, it's all about seat time. The more and more you do, the more and more you get comfortable, the more everything just comes so natural. but Ken has definitely stepped up and become a lot better. His times now are nowhere near as far back as they are. There's the move. Is both able to retain. That was very, very close for Heiko to get past him. Heiko's looking left, right, absolutely everywhere. Can he get by? As both Ramsfield is coming into the pits. This is an unusual pit stop here. Only thing I can think of, he had an in-game drive-through penalty. Let me just double check that. Mr. Bolf Ramsfield had a drive-through penalty come up for track limits. That is massive. That was an in-game penalty that was not given to me by at all. That was an in-game track limits penalty. So he had cut the track and gained time 3 times, and then on the 4th time is when that message would have popped up. When you get the message saying you have the drive-through penalty, you have 3 laps to complete that penalty in. So that had been from cutting the chicane, because the chicane is where everyone gets track limits here. Even the pro sim racers, they are cutting it so fine to track limits that unfortunately has thrown him. He hasn't lost much place. He only lost 1 place actually for having that drive-through. But that is 1 place from the championship leader, where he is in the points and in the run for this championship. So yeah, that was a severe bad timing for him. Good timing for Heiko, got him out that battle. As you can see there, Mr. Callum McLeod, followed by Lesh Mum, with Heiko just in the background there. Now, are these 2 Mercedes going to play nice? Is Antonio going to say, oh, Mercedes teammate here, I'm going to be really, really nice and let him by early? As we see the plane flying back again into Midlands Airport. So that is massively bad, unfortunately, for both there. But you've got to stay within the track limits. Like I said earlier, the track limits here are not defined by the curb. They're defined by the white line. So you think, yeah, I can cut through that chicane, you could be half a tire width over from where you need to be, and it will give you that warning. So we're just coming up to 13 minutes remaining. It does look like Antonio there did slow down Heiko a little bit, but Heiko didn't go for a dive to get by. I'm going to come off my screen here. I do apologise if it's slightly lagging for you there. Actually, it didn't look like we dropped any frames, so it was actually surprising. Okay, I'm getting a little stabby on the fall early. Maybe trying to use it just to get the back end to step around. It could be that they are getting warnings through the chicane that they're not gaining time. If you're not gaining time, it'll just say no time. It'll say basically track limits, no time gained. If they're gaining time though, it will come up saying warning with a number, so obviously 1, 2 or 3 track limits. And if it goes warning number 1 track limits, you've gone cut 2 more times, and then you cut again on the 4th time, and that's what happened to Mr. Bolf there, and it gave him the drive-through. So as long as the tyre is on the racing line, so on the black surface or on the white line, it's okay. As soon as the car goes too much over and fully onto the rumble strip with the left-hand tyres or the right-hand tyres, depending what's the closest to the racetrack, it's okay. So Mr. Callum McLeod there he was very tight going through there as well. So you can be up on top of the rumble strip as long as your tyres are just on it. No, unfortunately, you can let off. Basically, let's say you go through a rouge and you completely lift off the throttle. So you can put well on truly offline. As long as you don't lose, if you come off the throttle completely, and maybe even brake slightly, just so you're not gaining time over the whole period of time, it's not so bad. It sometimes will turn around and say, yeah, you've got track limits, but you'd be like, track limits, no time gained. But if you keep your foot buried in it, guarantee you'll come up saying, oi, warning, track limits. And like I said, you only get 3, and then they'll give you a bit of a punch. Yeah, so he was on the rumble strip, but at the same time, he was on the edge of the track. So that's what I said. It's a very fine line where you're going to be either you're golden or you're screwed. It's very, very tight. So he's perfect through there. See, that second chicane. That second part of the chicane, he was too much over. But if he has not gained time, that's okay. But what a lot of leagues do, especially when you've got like the SimGrid VCO World Cup, that would be manually watched over. There would be a person literally sitting with the free camera directly looking above, and if you keep abusing it too much, they will still give you that drive-through penalty for cutting. No, it's not every time. So Callum there, perfectly fine. Lesh there, perfectly fine behind him. Lesh is closing down. Callum. Heiko's closing up as well. We're looking at a battle for second, third and fourth here. Chris, he's just gone at the front here. Yes, it has to be a sliver on it. So yeah. Yeah. If you want to hear the rumble strips, give us 1 second. We'll click onto Callum McLeod. There you go. We'll be on the splitter camera for here as he goes through. So he's good for the second half. That's the first time. Yeah, and Lesh is doing really good here in ACC. Really, really good. He is focused. It looks like this is definitely his style of sim for Lesh. As we're now just coming to 8 minutes remaining. Can Callum keep that Mercedes in second and stop a potential 1-2-3 for BMW here? Because another way to think of GT3 versus GTE, GTE is the manufacturer teams, GT3 is customer teams. So the teams are, yes, overall financially and well supported by Callum. Oh, Callum McLeod has just dropped it out of P2, and Lesh is now ahead. Oh my God, can Callum get back past the Lesh, and can he keep Heiko behind him? Don't forget, Heiko had that penalty at the start for being out of position. That got cleared, but unfortunately there was contact there as well, don't forget, what put him to the back of the grid. So even though Heiko is this far back, he is putting in one bloody good race. So Callum's tyres there, even though he's got wet tyres on, he would have picked up a bit of dirt from where he went off. We've been dragging that for a couple of corners. This is more off the tyres. But it's now BMW, Mercedes, BMW. Can Callum keep Heiko behind him for the next 6 minutes? This is going to be very, very interesting here, guys. Yeah, Heiko has been on an amazing comeback run this time. So remind me, guys, as soon as literally Sean Cole crosses that finish line, I need to clear his penalty. That's one thing I definitely need to do. He has served his time. We know that for a fact. We sat there and watched him whilst he was in the pit. So we're not going to say that his pit was incomplete when we know it was. Just looks like Callum gets a better drive through that part of the track. Heiko doesn't look like he gets a little bit too loose. Saying that, Callum diving here on a lash. This is one hell of a battle going on. So look at this now. Heiko right off on the back of Callum. To look back directly from Callum's car now. Looking forward at Alesh. Unfortunately, it is Heiko that is closing down Mr. Callum McLeod more than Callum closing down on Alesh. This is going to be the battle here till the end of the race now. Alesh has got, unfortunately, nowhere near the pace as Chris. Chris is just gone. Chris is 37 seconds ahead. That is a massive gap. That much, unfortunately, Chris has not had much screen time today. There's been battles all over this race, left, right and centre from the get-go. Yeah, Chris definitely pulled a Terry and said, "See ya, I'm out of here. Catch you later. See you next week." As saying about that, Callum McLeod is still pulling away from Heiko here. Can Callum get back up to Heiko, to Alesh? He has 2 laps to do this with 3 minutes remaining. This is coming down to the absolute wire. Terry's like, no, worse than me. So we look from Alesh. We can see that Mercedes hunted him down. Terry, that's the thing about when we did the ACC League Patreon race at Monza. I started at the back. By end of lap 1, I was in P3 and coming into turn 1, the first chicane. I dived past Sean Cole and Dave Blair to take the lead, and I won by nearly 45 seconds ahead. But Monza is one of my favourite tracks, especially in the Mercedes, as we are getting close. Actually, no, sorry. I do apologise. We're going to go one more lap than I expected here. As it did look like Alesh went a bit too wide there. Brandon Cole was shown, no, he's still good. This is definitely the battle here, as we have 2 laps to go. So Chris does have time. If he wants to let off, he can let off. He does not have to go for another lap if he wants to. He will have the time to do that. But this battle here, that needs it. Yeah, that's one thing as well. People do stop turning up when people are starting to absolutely drive away from people constantly. That's one of the good thing about ACC. I can add ballast to cars. I can put restrictors, so we can do a manual BOP on the cars. We can also do it on the drivers. So we're not doing success ballast this season. We might do next season, depending on how the outcome of this season comes in, as this is a full season. So we're gonna have a look over at Chris, see where he's on track right now. So Chris is now on his final lap. And we're gonna keep an eye on this battle. We're gonna switch over to Chris just to see for the Coastal Car alignment. This battle here is really push it. So, as you can see, the time has run out. They have gone the hour. This is the final lap now. Can Callum McLeod get past Alesh on the final lap for P2? Or can he hold Heiko back and stay P3? Let's see what happens. This is going to be interesting. So I'm just going to keep an eye on the lap place ticker just to see where Chris is. Does look like Brandon Carl is slowing slightly, maybe letting Chris combine. No, he's not. As Chris Canada here is coming through the last turn here to take the win here at Donington Park. Sean Cole comes home behind. Sean's now finished laps. I'm going to put it onto helicopter cam. We're going to stay on top of this. I'm going to jump into the game. I need to clear Sean Cole's time penalty off, so the screen will keep an eye on this battle, luckily. I didn't do it. So unfortunately the penalty did stay, but Alesh Mum did stay in P2, Callum McLeod in P3, Heiko Sherman P4, both Ramshield in P5. Brandon Carr is going to come home in 6th position. Sean Cole in 7th, Antonio Santos in P8, and Ken Estep in P9. So guys, absolute dominant run from Chris. Absolutely just ran away with today's race. So we just stay on with Mr. Brandon Cars. He crosses the line. Session has now ended. I'll return to the garage. See if I can clear the penalty one more time. Clear car 39. Pending penalties are cleared. It might not allow me to clear it, but either way, I am going to make sure that that is not in the final standings of today's race. But guys, thank you for joining us. This has been the Simpit ACC League here, round 2 at Donington Park in very wet conditions for these guys. So congratulations on them. I've been your host, M.Vowles, and as always, we'll see you next time. The next race we have coming up is the Road League for their race on the weekend. We'll be back next Tuesday for round 3, and round 3 is at, give me 1 second, Zolder. An absolute curb killing machine of a track. Very, very tight, very, very twisty. Track limits are going to be one thing to keep an eye out, so keep an eye on that. But for myself, guys, take care, stay safe. We'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.